If you want to land more speaking gigs or get invited on podcasts, you don't need to have a perfect personal brand or a massive following. What you need is a real authority online. And most people, they skip that part because they're already doing some work. Maybe they're speaking inside companies, or they've been on a few podcasts, or they've led some powerful workshops for small groups. But here's the thing. It's not growing. The invitations aren't coming in, or they're always coming in from the same kind of people. Every year for the same congress, every year for the same seminar, every year for the same podcast. But, of course, then you reach a limit. Now, imagine this. You give a talk to 100 people, and that's great. But then you record that talk, post it on YouTube, and now 10,000 people can find it. And also, what if you upload your podcast interviews? You share moments from your workshops. You create a place where your message keeps working, even when you're not in the room. And that's exactly what this video is about. I'll give you the exact blueprint I use with my clients to help them go from a hidden expert to getting invited to speak on aligned podcasts, on meaningful stages, or in front of people that they couldn't reach before. Let's break it down. So the first important thing is to clarify your core message. Authority starts with clarity. If someone visits your profile or hears you speak, they want to instantly know what you stand for. And most people are too broad, too vague, or they try to say too many things at once. One of my clients works with organizations on emotional intelligence. We narrowed down her message to the one line: I help leaders create emotionally intelligent cultures where people thrive. I had the same problem, actually, and it took me some time to find my real target. And right now, I help emerging thought leaders to amplify their voice and reach more audiences. It's very clear, it's very focused, and also repeatable. And that's what makes you rememberable and what makes you bookable. And let's go to step 2. Build visible online authority without having a big brand. You don't need to be everywhere. You just need to be seen enough by the right people. I call it quiet proof. And that could be a short video of you speaking, a couple of posts with clear insights or stories, or a previous training or workshop, or a panel that you were part of. One day, one of my clients shared 3 simple clips on LinkedIn from a small internal event. Nothing polished, just some real value. And that led her to her first podcast invitation. If she didn't have done that, then nobody would have seen it. And then she would miss that opportunity. So you just need to show what you stand for and where people can come to you for. And it's simple. You can just say, I do this, I've done it before, and I can bring value to your audience. And then we come to step 3. Know where you want to be featured. Here's what I help clients to do. Make a short list of 10 podcast or speaking platforms that you love to be featured on. And let's keep it realistic. Not the biggest shows or stages right away. Just focus on aligned spaces where your voice fits and where your message matter. Try to target podcasts with 500 loyal listeners, and that's gold. The online summit hosted by someone in their niche, that's momentum. You don't need hundreds of gigs, you just need the right ones. And that's where it starts. And let's go to point 4, pitch with presence. Most people overthink this. They write long bios, over-explain and try to sound too professional. But what actually works is being a human. Here's the pitch format that I give to my clients. You can use the subject possible guest for your podcasts. And then you can say, hey, the name of the host. I really appreciate what you're doing with name of the podcast. I especially liked your episode with specific guest or topic. I work with your audience around your topic, and this often comes up. And then you write a short insight or a theme that you're speaking about. If you ever need a guest to explore that topic, I'd love to contribute. Nothing more than that. Very simple. It's short, it's clear, it's genuine, and that's why it works. Step 5. Be ready with 3 to 4 talk ideas. If someone says yes, you don't want to be scrambling. Have a few strong talk topics ready, each one with a short title and 1 or 2 bullet points. Here's an example from a client I work with that went on their first podcasts. The suggestion was to use a talk title, something like "Why Smart Teams Still Struggle with Emotional Safety." And then you can use a few bullet points, the hidden patterns most leaders miss, and what it takes to build a trust-driven culture. When you show up prepared like that, people take you seriously and they want to work with you again. Point 6, make every opportunity open to the next one. This is an important one. This is where real growth happens. Because most people do one podcast or event and then they disappear. Or they do 1 or 10 or 20 podcasts, but after the podcast, they don't do anything anymore. They just think that everything happens automatically. But you can turn every appearance into momentum. Here's how I help my clients to do that. Share the talk or interview online and tag the host. Ask, do you know anyone else who'd love this message? And then add the appearance to your online presence as part of your authority. Visibility builds when you keep the doors open. That's how 1 talk turns into 3, and 3 turns into 10, and so on. So now you know how you can land more speaking gigs and podcast appearances. But there is an even bigger shift happening right now that you can't ignore. Because the way we build authority is changing fast. And if you're not using AI in your business yet, you're already falling behind. In this video, I'll break down what's happening and how you can start using AI to stay visible, relevant, and in demand.